So let's talk a little bit about toilet training, because it was one of your parts of your pillar. So is that something that you still see as a teacher come up? Like you were saying your daughter's 4.
Yes.
And has only just mastered it, still having challenges. I would say that's pretty normal, developmentally. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. 4 is usually when children master it.
Yes. I feel like
which is interesting, because I've met parents who are like, my child is 18 months and I'm toilet training them. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
But as a mum of a little girl who is an August baby, she will be 3 and 5 days when she starts school, which is really young.
Wow. Yeah. She's
She's going to be tiny. She's a tiny baby. I'd say that'll be preschool, won't it? So she'll be 4, exactly 4. She won't. How would you reassure a mum like me? Or maybe you won't reassure me, I don't know. What would you say about how do we build these skills around toileting independently so as not to bring shame to our kids or not put extra pressure on ourselves? If kids developmentally, they might not be quite ready to have accidents. What would you say?
And that's okay. That's okay to have accidents. It's just about, 'cause I'm sure mine will be the same. I don't want anyone to think, oh, these professionals have got it all covered, because we're just mums as well. And we're all just trying our best. And I'm not an expert with toilet training. I think it's about making it as least pressured as possible for you and your child, and making it as positive as possible, and ensuring they're as independent as they can possibly be, so that they're reaching their full potential for them. So not every child is going to have mastered it completely, but as long as, you're making those conscious efforts and taking those steps to help them as much as possible. So lots of praise and lots of books and stories and lots of checking. Do you need the toilet? We always have to have toilet time before we go out anywhere, and there's lots and lots of checking. Need the toilet. So it's not feel pressured about or feel this overwhelm. It's just about supporting them as much as you possibly can to get them as toilet trained as possible.
I think it'll be really reassuring for parents to hear that kids around the age of 4 are still having accidents and it's okay. Yeah. So you would say pack an extra change of clothes or things like that?
Definitely. Schools do have spare clothes, but it's limited. So whenever we still have accidents in year 1, because I'm a year 1 teacher currently, and there's still children on the odd occasion who have accidents, and so scrambling for spare clothes can be tricky. So I'd say definitely pack a couple.
So if you know your child is still learning this skill,
yes, definitely
pack them a change of clothes just to be safe. And also it can help kids relax, is what I think as a psychologist. If they know, I've got some clothes, it can remove some of that tension, which actually, if they're stressed, is more likely to make them have an accident, believe it or not, because our bladders don't like to be stressed. So it's more likely to make them go of a bit of wee by mistake, accident, because they're holding it really tight. Yeah. So what happens is they don't release when they go to the toilet. They don't fully empty their bladder. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the anxiety can make them hold on.
Okay, I see.
So
it's really interesting. Yeah,
I like that it's okay. I think it's important to tell to parents it's okay to pack this in their bags. And
yes,
I would say tell your child you're packing it. Yeah, exactly. And tell your child, I'm putting this in your bag because it's okay if you have an accident.
Yes.
Let's just normalize this rather than there's something wrong with you.
Shame.
Yes, no shame. And the other thing I would add on, I'm not a toilet training expert, but I do talk about using toilet independently. And I think I want to hold on to that word independent. So for me, when children learn to use the toilet, it is a sign of independence. And that's a massive milestone. Kids are learning to listen to their bodies and they're learning to do something that has been done to them all this time, which is change their nappies.
Yeah.
And that's a massive step because children have to feel ready to let go of your care and your nurturing during their toileting. And that's massive to some children. So for some children, it is a separation. It's a separation from you as a parent. And it can feel really tricky to some kids. And the thing I would say is try and help your child. If you're working on this before September, please try and focus on how your child can notice their own cues and tell your child that you trust them. You to listen to your body.
Lovely.
And role model. So I love this habits, good, healthy habits. So before we leave the house, I do it less, but I've started again because we know we've got a little one. I will say, oh, I'm going to be in the car for a couple of hours. Oh, that's a long time. How's my tummy feeling? Yeah, I'm going to go check. I think I might need a wee. As soon as I started doing that, my eldest was like, I need to try. And I didn't have to tell her, do you need the toilet? She would know, because she doesn't.
Yeah.
Because the thing kids do is, do I need the toilet right now? No. They say in the car, oh, I need the toilet now. Which so often you're like, I've driven 5 meters. I just asked you. But they live in the here and now, right? So they don't think, oh yeah, I'm going to be stuck in a car. They're like, do I need the toilet? No. 2 minutes later, I need the toilet. So instead, I would role model it.
Brilliant.
And some parents find this really awkward. So if you find it awkward, you got to get comfortable with the fact that everybody pees and poos. And I love what you said before. Please read more books about pees and poos. Just get comfortable with it. Get comfortable with it. And so if you say, oh, I might need to try, your kid learn through what you do. They're going to start going, oh, I want to do that too.
That's great.
Even in a restaurant, if we eat out in a cafe or whatever, I often used to, still do. I've got a small bladder. We'll go and use the toilet before I go home. And my daughter comes with, and I often say, do you want to come with me? Yeah. She'll be like, yeah. And then she often says, I don't need the toilet. And then when I'm with you, she's like, I need the toilet. I'm like,
yes. I see. This is making so much sense.
And then for lots of praise. I am so proud of you for listening to your body. I'm so proud of you for sitting and trying. Nothing came out. That's okay. Nothing comes out. But you tried. I love that you did that. Lots and lots of praise.
And I love that you said about modelling, because that is something that I talk about so much, but I've never actually made the link with toilet training. We know some other things I model, but actually I'm going to take that away, because I always talk about the power of modelling, and it really is, because they want to be you. They do.
They do. But we want them to... I don't want a kid who has to listen to an external prompt to use a toilet. Like you, me, their teacher, they don't know what they're feeling in their body. They know what they feel in their body. So I want my kid to listen to, I need the toilet.
Their cues. Yeah.
Yes. And to be like proud to my toilet. I listen to my, I call it my tummy because they're little, but I listen to my bladder as they get older. Use the correct terms as well, because that's educational.
Of course.
But that's what a little thing to work on if you're stuck with the toileting, I would say.
That's great. I think lots of parents are going to find that really helpful, me included.
Actually, and I don't know if this helps, but I would say this because I learnt this with my daughter. Get them to drink lots of water. So lots of parents, if they're going through the phase of learning to toilet, will be like, I'm just going to give them less water so they don't have accidents. I'm like, don't do that. Give them more water, because it makes their bladder... Yes. Their bladder grows bigger and it gives a louder signal to the brain. We want loud signals. If their bladder's empty, even if they do need a little wee, they're not going to feel it. So then they're not weeing all day. That's not practice, is it?
No.
That's not
great.
Good.
They want that. We want that full feeling, don't we? So they know very clearly that they need the toilet.
Ice lollies in summer. Lots of ice lollies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's great to know. Mine will love that you said that.
What else can we talk about? So then your academic pillar, should we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
Because I think some parents will be wondering, what's that? And how can I support my child through that?
Yeah, because I know lots of the parents in my community will be confident that those milestones have been achieved for their children. So they want to know what's next. What can we be doing to give them a really solid start? And there is so much that you can be doing. And, this is why I separate it into school readiness, which is the developmental milestones, but then the academic, I like to say, enhancing the early years. So we're going to think about enhancing our children's development, their interests, what they're directed to, what they're keen to do in those independent moments. We're not going to be saying, look, let's recite numbers 1 to 10. No, we don't want to be doing that. Or learning numbers to 100. Great to count to 10. You don't need to have a checklist of things. There's actually nothing really solid that your child needs to know academically. Counting and recognizing some numbers and some letters will be amazing, but there's not really a set. They need to be able to do this and this. So I think there's quite a lot of misinformation around they need to be counting to a 50 or in terms of that sort of area. I'd say go by your child's lead. What are they interested in? There is a really valuable document called Development Matters, and that outlines some of the things that our 3 to 4 year old children advised to know, recommended to know by the government. It's not statutory, but lots of things on there I think are lovely. So writing or recognizing their name, I'd say, comes in the developmental side of things. And they recognize their name, can locate their belongings. So that for us was something that we worked on. And then we moved into writing our name. But the first bits that we did were using magnetic letters to order the letters of her name, just becoming really familiar with what her name looks like, the order, and then just providing lots of mark making materials around at the same time that you're doing that, and see if she wants to do it, to write the letters. So I think it's just about going by their lead. So as I said, with the writing, the fine motor is something that comes first. And then we move into pre-writing shapes and forming particular shapes that will allow them to form letters and numbers. If you've got those shapes under the belt, have a look at those. You can find them on the internet really easily. They're called pre-writing shapes. And then form the letters and numbers. So yeah, there's lots, without just giving, it's quite a broad, there's lots of different things you can focus on. But I talk about pre-reading, pre-writing, and early numeracy, early number skills are things that you can be doing within those areas to support them. I don't know which area you'd like me to, do you want me to talk about one in particular, or?
Which one do you feel kids struggle with the most, or parents are most anxious about? My guess would be something to do with writing or reading, but I don't know.
Yes. So like I said, they don't need to be doing X, Y, Z by the time they start school. But I would say for us, something that's been really successful is having lots of opportunities since they're really young to, and even if they haven't done it from they were really young, that's fine, can do it now, still have such a really big impact, having lots of different materials to write with around the house for them to discover themselves. So child-initiated learning is where we get the most progress. They haven't really developed the skills yet for us to say, come and sit down and do this with me. They're not really there yet, which is why in reception it's a play-based curriculum. And in the area, they'll have lots of different opportunities, lots of different activities to engage in. And some children can find this overwhelming if they haven't experienced different activities to be engaged in. So I guess it's just about thinking about what they attend a nursery or a childminders. If they don't, because they'll be doing this there, hopefully. If they don't, can you be creating some areas in your house? Maybe it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Can you have some writing bits out and some numbers maybe in a water tray, and they just pick up the numbers with a fishing net and talk about the numbers? Some really simple things to get them used to that. So yeah, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there, but the pre-writing, lots and lots of different opportunities to write, I would say has been really powerful for us.
I think again, parents will find that really reassuring to know they don't need to come with, I can write cat and dog and whatever, and I can read these words. Like, those are the skills that they're going to learn at school. So just focus on the other stuff to build their confidence and build their kind of emotional security so that they can actually learn. And if you want, you can do these kind of structured zones of play. But if they go to a nursery, that often is around, isn't it? So they will have some experience of that already.
They will. That is just mainly for those who haven't yet.
Sorry, go on, I interrupted.
Sorry, that was just advice if your child doesn't attend a nursery or childminders. You might want to have a little go at setting up some activity just so they're used to having things to choose from, because they have lots of choosing time in reception.
Yes. I also loved you said that it was play-based.
Yeah.
which I think some parents aren't aware of, reception being much closer to nursery, but with a little bit more structure than a kind of very academic sit at a table. It's not quite like that, is it? It's a lot more...
No.
Their bodies move around and it's a lot more learn through play.
It is. It's actually, that's why for me, because I'm familiar with it, I'm not really over concerned about starting school for my eldest, just because I know that she's used to that environment and it's going to be a little bit more stimulating for her, just that little bit more, but it's going to still be that familiarity of the play-based setup. I hope parents take a lot of comfort with that. It's a lot of play in their first year, which is lovely. Lots of lovely setups and tough spot trays and lots of outdoor time for them as well.
Definitely. And in my mind, I've got 2 more questions for you. So one is, at the beginning, you said that one of the kind of readiness skills for starting school is also listening to instruction and following kind of instruction from a teacher. How can parents prepare or support their kids with this?
So there's a couple of things actually that I wanted to share around that. It's something that we do find with some children is they can struggle with attention and listening and focus. Particularly now we're in a time where everything is immediate and there's lots of things available to entertain them. What I'd say is something that it's definitely something at the forefront of my mind all the time is allow your children, so this is a little bit different to what you said, but it's just something I wanted to get in. Allow them to be bored as much as possible. Allow them to have that independent time, even though it can be annoying for us and say, I'm bored, I've got nothing to do. But actually, after a few times of them saying that, they'll start to really develop those skills of creativity and imaginative play. And I think that's really important to develop that sense of imagination, creativity, and allowing them to lead their learning. That's going to make that jump, or it's not really a jump, but the transition into reception a lot easier when they've got those things to explore. They're going to be used to initiating that learning. And then, as you said, with following instructions and really good listening, we say not at home, we have done since they were really young, is good listening. So that was really good listening. Well done. Obviously, they're not going to do it all the time. And please, parents, don't think that we just want them to listen to everything and be like robots, because they can't, can they? I'm sure you can back this up. But as long as they're showing willingness and are able to follow some instructions. A really cool game I thought about actually is Simon Says. So you can play Simon Says and have a bit of fun with it and just practice good listening and praising it when you see it home.
Yeah, I love that. I think teaching through games is great. So Simon Says is a lovely one. I think also if you want your child to follow rules, etc., doing some like board games, it can just be easy ones, whatever. But teaching your child turn taking, teaching your child numbers in things like snakes and ladders. But it's also about following a rule. And it's really good for emotional regulation, because you can teach your child to be a good winner and a good loser. You know?
Yes.
And again, you can role model. There's so many things you can do with like a board game or anything like that.
Yes.
I love that you talked about being bored, because it's one.
Lovely.
So like easier ones. One of them was like a forest animal one. I don't think it was branded. I think I found it, I won't name the shop, but in a food shop, big food. And I found it, and she just had to find, she loves animals, so she had to find like the squirrel on one page and whatever. But what it does is offer them like that focus and concentration. And it also is really good for when they learn to read, etc. Scanning.
Yes.
And you can slow them down. So you can do it as a passive activity. It's great in the car, FYI. Give them one of those and they spend it. I found it. Great. But also, if you could do it together, you can go, let's scan it together. And you can actually teach them to search. Yes. And I think those are really good for teaching focus and concentration, whilst being something that's slow. But slow, it's a passive kind of activity. It's not, high energy.
No.
And
puzzles are also a really good one too. Puzzles.
Exactly.
I love puzzles.
Also great for fingers.
Motor. Yes.
Yeah, really good. Open up a book. We talked about this before, but look at a page and just say, oh, I just spotted a mushroom. Can you see the mushroom?
Yeah.
To find the mushroom.
Yes.
It's so easy. It doesn't have to be complicated, but I think it can be helpful, teaches kids to focus and pay attention for a bit.
Yeah. I actually love that you said that about the reading. That's something that I talk about quite a lot, is that active reading, that you don't have to do it every single time. Obviously, a lot of the reading we do is at bedtime and we're all exhausted by the end of the day. But if you can maybe choose the time early on in the day when you've got a little bit more energy, and you can really analyse the pictures and talk about the feelings and what can you see. And, I think she looks a little bit shocked there. What do you think could have happened?
Yes.
And actually, if you look at the Julie Donaldson book, she's really clever in the illustrations, how the characters are making certain faces or little hidden things that aren't so obvious. And just spending a little bit of time really looking at the pictures really will give them some quite valuable skills as they get to Key Stage 2, Key Stage into Year 1, Year 2. They've got that already, that analysing and looking at things in a deeper way is really good. And also, I wanted to just say about following instructions and listening. I love that you said about the board games. They're really good. Also, any short activity, you don't feel like they need to be doing anything for a long time because they have really short attention spans. But if you want to do like a number activity or something with their sounds, just choose something super, super simple. And you don't need to expect 5-10 minutes at the most. But that 5-10 minutes of just listening to an instruction and following what you've asked them to do, and turn taking, like you say, or playing a game with a dice or anything that you have that you want to, don't expect too long out of that. But if you have that sort of ping pong together of dialogue, that is, just know you've given them a really amazing skill in that time.
Yeah, lovely. That's really nice. And I've got one last question. This is my question for you. But what's the one thing you would like most parents to know about their child starting school? Like one thing that you think all parents should know this.
That they will be absolutely fine.
Oh, that's lovely.
Just actually, that makes me a bit emotional. They will be absolutely fine. There are so many, every single teacher that I've met, and I'm sure everybody can vouch this that works in schools, have chosen to be a teacher because they love working with children and supporting them. And so please don't think, if they've not met something, or nothing is a nuisance or a hindrance, nothing is. We are there to support you. We want to support you more. We all know how the system is, how stretched it is, and we can't always speak to parents as much as we want to, but just know that when they come to us, we treat them like they're our own, and they will be fine, promise.
That's lovely. I think that is what all parents need to hear.
Yeah, that's what I
would say, as a mum who has a kid in Year 1, I found reception really hard, and she went to childcare. So I found it really hard to let go.
What did you find hard about it? Letting go, yes.
Yes. I think there's something about,
maybe.
Yes. The full time of it.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it? Because loads of parents will say, freedom. But actually I was like, give her back to me.
That's what I am nervous about, because she goes 3 days and it will be 5. And I think that's my biggest thing, is the 5 days.
In all honesty, it's another separation.
Yeah.
And that is part of what development is about. Development is all about us parents teaching our kids skills so they can be independent. But that's really hard when your little one is 4.
Yeah.
You're like, but they still need you. So I love that you said they're going to be fine. And we're here as teachers, like trying to treat them like our own.
Just check in, and don't feel like you are hounding us or you're not. We want to work with you and support you as much as your little ones. So just voice any concerns, have that chat, stay those extra couple of minutes at home time and grab us then. We're always more than happy to speak to you and reassure you it is a huge transition, not just for the children. I'd say probably more so for the parents.
I agree. I think it's a massive transition. I love that. And I hope all teachers are like you, Jess.
Thank you.
Because I think you've got a really reassuring, calm, positive manner. And I think that's what parents need to feel, like their kid is being handed over to somebody who's warm and caring and nurturing.
Yeah.
And also, I love that you have said that. Keep the communication open between us as well, between parents and teachers. Because I always feel like that's how you can resolve problems. Talk through it, ask for support, and teachers are there for you.
Yes, and I really do think it can get lost. I think they can be sometimes the reception, maybe not so much, but as they get older, it definitely becomes separate, and then it gets harder for the parents to feel comfortable to speak to. So I would just say, when I was teaching more hours, I was working full time in schools and even part time. Because I needed to work one day, that's why I say now, and I get to speak to them a little bit. But when I was in more, it was just one of my favorite times of the day, was just to speak to them and just say, this is amazing what they've done, and how are things. That's a really valuable thing, and don't be afraid to reach out for support, because that's what we're here for.
Love that. I think we should end there because that was beautiful. But
Lovely.
I will wait and